All right, it is that time again. Wow, that picture's, that's not the right picture. I think my background got changed. What happens if we do this? Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Where the hell did this one come from? Oh, well, okay, I must have moved something in the back. Why did Chewbacca crash the Millennium Falcon? He made a Wookiee mistake. Cute. That one's cute. All right, so here we are in game dev. So there's some things that I've did. I've been going through, or I did a review, but then over the weekend I was able to actually start on the tutorials and start building stuff. So let me show you kind of where I'm at with the tutorials. So let me pull our logo down and let's pull up. I think it's this one should be the correct one. Assuming I have it open. Do I have it open? I do have it open. Oh, it helps if I actually turn it on, doesn't it? And then go back and find the correct window. That one. Okay. And it takes a second. Okay, so I've been doing the tutorial and putting it together. Here's as far as I got on this tutorial so far. And it is playable. So we have some cool things here. Let me go back over here and I have to actually play it with it. So our guy can do this, he can roll, that kind of thing. We also got some plants to chop up, which is kind of cool. But what I'm doing is I'm going to finish this tutorial and then we're going to use what it makes us to start building our game. You can also hit signs, so that's kind of cool. We also have a bounce back, so if we run into something, we can bounce back. Yeah, so as I said, I'm just going through the tutorial and doing things. But it's going to help us because when I'm done with it, I'm hoping to have a good base set of things to start with to actually build the game and start moving around in it. So like I have, if we go to our little cat friend here, we can actually ask questions now and get responses. We can also go to our signs instead of having the text screen that has the thing on it. We can actually put the name of the buildings on the signs. So that should be good. What is this? The Game Maker tutorial? Yes, it is. I'm showing you how far I've gotten on the Game Maker tutorial. So, because I knew nothing about Game Maker, and I need to learn. The first tutorial I did, which brought us our first little mock-up that we did, was all well and good, but there was a lot of stuff missing, and the way that it's set up didn't make sense to me. It's probably good for everybody else. Yeah, those tutorials they're pretty good. The only problem is they are a little old. So luckily, what I knew of Python, I was able to adjust the tutorials for the new Game Maker code because it uses procedures instead of just, you have to actually build procedure things. I'm just starting a project on RPA. Yeah, what I'm hoping for is once I get the tutorial completely done, I'll have a test bed that I can save. And then anytime we want to try a new idea, we could pull that test bed into another directory, and then build on that. So we can actually have test beds for several games going at once, which I think would be a lot of fun. And then we still have all of our capabilities are in there because as I'm going through this tutorial, I'm like, I like the fact that I can knock all of the plants down now. I like the fact that I can read signs. So if I go to the sign, I can read it. So don't walk on the grass. So that's kind of cool. I like the fact that I can smack the sign and it shows. This is the part I put in last night was you can smack the sign and it actually has an effect that you can smack the sign. Did we get an art pass? No, this is the art that comes with the tutorial, and I'm using that. But I will be probably, once I finish the full tutorial, I will be building our town in this. So ads will come to it. Did you code the sign flash logic to be applicable to other objects? The way it's set up, yes, because the way he teaches it, it is. I don't think that she actually, or the other cat actually does. I forget. It used to turn red, but it doesn't turn red now, so it's not recognizing it. But I may have to just turn it on in the code itself, because the cool thing about it is it actually shows you how to do a base piece of code and then inherit it to different objects. And then you actually have a variable settings that you can put for each individual object. So they will have the base code, and then each individual can have different things. You know, it's just like when you talk to them, they they'll be able to say different things and things like that. And even when we're using things like signs and stuff like that to give you an idea of things are, because we can put the names of each building on each sign, or just leave the signs blank, which this one over here I believe is blank. But I made an entity. In the tutorial, they show you how to make an entity base, and then that can do things like that base can be applied to all your entities, and when you hit them, they can flash white and stuff like that. It's a really good in-depth thing. I like it a lot. I really like the way that he's put the training together. I know it's 4 years old, but it's worth it. And when though I've been writing the procedures and stuff in it, it's not basically made for it. The tutorial itself doesn't go in depth of that because it wasn't there yet. But if we go to Game Maker, let's see if it comes up here. Yeah. So here's a lot of the code for it. This one is player collision. So when he runs into anything, it sends him to his animation to knock him back and fly and all that, and puts the arc in. You know, so yeah, I'm learning all this stuff. It's getting there, and I'm only up to tutorial 17 of 51. So, but we will get there. Now, back to ours, and you'll see that this should make a pretty good difference. Go to Toby 2. Another thing I'm doing is, as I'm going through the tutorials, I'm saving what I'm working on based on the tutorial I'm on. So it's in the name, so I can go back to it and see if I've messed something up. The reason I'm doing that is because I did mess something up, and I haven't been able to find it yet. And that is, I've managed to kill the camera shake. I managed to kill the camera shake when he runs into stuff. So I have to figure out that and fix it. Did you code the sign flash logic? Yeah, it's based. It's in the. Oh God, I should have just showed it when it was up. We're in an ad. When we come back from the ad, we'll discuss it. But yeah, it's interesting because it's showing how to build logic in a way where every entity, meaning the signs, the other cat, all that stuff, they're in the entity code, and then they have a base, and then you can fix that afters. And then there's some logic here and there that works out really, really well. But I'm not going to go through all of his tutorials because I don't think that'll be fair. But all I can say is that hopefully by next week, we can start using the base of what he teaches, and then, or she she teaches, and then make adjustments to it to make it more of our own. And then we also I need to start thinking about artwork for our game. But like I said, we haven't picked a world yet. So I don't know what the main character is going to look like yet, or what the backgrounds are going to look like yet. And that causes a bit of a churn, shall we say. But it's all good stuff. Yes. We are moving along, waiting for ads. Oh, the ads are stopped. Ads have stopped. Okay. So because what I'll be doing is I'll be taking what we have here in ours and start converting it to that other world. But I don't want to do it till I get the next, at least. I really don't want to start putting our world into that until we get I get through all the tutorials, just so that there's enough there. Yeah, Troy, that's awesome that you're starting a project in RPG Game Maker. I would look into the tutorials that I'm going through right now, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. Granted, he even says that a lot of things that he's put in there will change with upcoming game makers from 4 years ago, and that is true. I have made a lot of those changes because I've went and looked up what's missing and stuff like that. And there's also a couple mistakes here and there the in the code that he puts up, but you can a lot of it's talked about in the comments. Did we get an art pass? Not yet. No. Ads will come in 2 minutes. We just finished ads. Did you code the sign flash? Okay, that was the question. Let me go back here again and let's see, wrong page. The sign flash is actually, let me go back to 17. Recent, 117, yeah. So the sign flash actually, in fact, where is it at? Okay, go over here. Not what I'm looking for, not fonts. Notes, no. Objects. Entities. Okay, let's open that. So yeah, so the flash is actually built into this, where you can actually put shadows on stuff. You're good. But it all comes back to a parent. So these are the variables from the parent, and you can set them all up. And then the flash is part of, I believe in this case, it's part of the role, if I remember correctly. Because there's a lot of pieces to it. I'm thinking of what the final piece was. We want objects, and there's objects. I want scripts. We want his tax scripts and the calculated tax. I think it's in this one. Doop. Hit. Entity hit scripts. Yeah, so this hit scripts. Yeah. Yeah, so hit attack now is the one we're looking for. I wish there was an easier way to get to them all, but it's in here somewhere. But yeah. But as you're going through the tutorials, they're kind of all over the place. But it is part of the P entity is where it originates, which is this is the master for all of the entities that you put in the game. This is all the code for it. So, and this is shader resets, because we just put shaders in, which is part of what's needed for the flash. So if you see here, it's the shader uniform U flash, and this is it. So in all the entities that are children of this will have that flash built into them as we're going forward. So that's basically how it works. Let's see, there's that, which is because the flash is actually done by a shader, which is the white flash. And everybody in everything that gets this as a parent will have that flash built in. Another thing I thought was pretty cool about Game Maker is you can actually name these by using this setting here. which I thought was actually kind of cool. Because then when you're glancing, you go, oh, okay, that's what I was looking for, you know? Oh yeah, so that's where the flash is. This is how the flash degrades. So how long it takes it to fade out and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really really good tutorial. I'll have to look at more after, but I think that it's going to give us the base for all the stuff that we want to do for this. Um, uh, without, I'm not even thinking about publishing this when we're done, but it's it gives us a good base that we can go and build something else on. I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, let's go back to let's go back to ours. So we take that, and now that we have a set scale, it's going to be a lot easier to build our city in that setup than it was to build it in this, and it won't be so astronomically huge. And we can build like the smaller. My idea is this: after doing that, is the bigger buildings, yes, we'll have maps for where you go into different that room as a thing. But things like the butcher or the baker, we could just do it where the top of the building comes off and you just walk in and buy whatever it is that you're doing there. We're in ads again, according to this. No, wait. No, okay, they're done. Okay, so you can just go in and the top will come off and you'll just go in and there'll be a baker shelf type thing. That way we can cut down a lot of art and things. And then for bigger buildings like general stores and stuff like that, we can do separate rooms, even though we already have separate rooms for them in our setup. The restaurant as well can be a separate room. The boarding house can be a separate room. And instead of having 10 or whatever it was, 10 rooms, we can cut it down to just a few. We have 12 rooms. We can cut it down to say 5, and that's probably all we really need, but it can still be a smaller room and better to scale, that kind of thing. Howdy. Howdy. Yep, so it's taking me into a completely different way of looking at it, and that's a good thing because we said that would happen. We can also do the stables. You know, the church and or temple will be a bigger room. Town hall will be a bigger room. But some of these like pottery shops and stuff like that, they can just be the roof lifts off. You go inside, you do everything, and then which I think is in the next lesson or one of the upcoming lessons, if I remember correctly. But a lot of these can just be quick roof off type buildings. But we can also take the signs and put tailors on the sign. We can put the signs for each of the names of the buildings out as well, which is help us while we're just running around and just have everything working. It's good. Yes, we will still need more rooms for levels because we do have quite a few levels inside the mine. But we're not getting rid of rooms altogether. We're just being a little bit more particular as to which buildings get larger rooms and which buildings can just have the roof come off of them and you do what you need to do in there and then come back out. To answer your question a little bit more, invisible matter, it is a shader, and he does show you how to use shaders in that particular tutorial. I think it's number 17 if I remember. Oh wait, no, it's number 16. And that but he does use them sparingly because he says that they do take up a lot of yeah, it does take up a lot of processor time. And our goal is to keep processor time as low as possible so that the game runs smoothly. Okay, so that's a quick explanation as to the 16 levels that I or 16 tutorials that I did over the weekend. Number 17 is today, and then I'll watch through a couple extra ahead and see if I should just start building the our town square. Uh, but eventually, I will have to spend time either doing the art or talking to someone that wants to do the art, and then we can just make it a little bit more personal. You know. But yeah, kind of cool stuff. Good, good, good. But for his tutorial, he does give you a link of all the sprites and stuff that he uses in his tutorial. So I thought that was pretty nice of him. And we'll see if it becomes a problem. I hope it doesn't. If it does, then I'll just have to go in and make some silly ones. Anything that inherits from the base can flash. That is correct. Invisible says anything that inherits from the base can flash if you want. Yes, it does. In fact, it has a under variables, it has an on-off switch that you can turn it on and off for anything. Yeah, but anything that is an entity can be set to flash. And I think I get into monsters next. So if I remember correctly, when I watched through it the weekend before. So I watched through all 51 tutorials the weekend before, and I believe monsters are next. So we can start thinking about that in our game as well, and start saying, oh, there's a monster, and here's just an NPC. So we have our NPCs set up with the other cat, which we can start putting when we start putting the buildings back in. We can start giving dialogue to some of the characters, the shopkeepers and the waitresses and stuff like that. That is correct. Alrighty, where are we at? 9 minutes. Let me look at pull our doc stuff up. Okay, so we need to add a couple things. So let me bring this up on screen. This one. Yes, I grabbed the right one the first time. Awesome. Okay, things that we need to add. We need to add shift as an attack. Spacebar. Spacebar is not an attack. Spacebar is a what was it again? Here, let me bring it back up. Spacebar is the roll. Spacebar is roll. I believe shift is attack. Yes, it is. Yep. Shift is attack. So we've added two controls to it. Another thing that the tutorial went through, let me pull it up here. No, capture that back up. Another thing that it did, let me go, I need to actually go back to it. Can't play with what you not own. As I thought was cool is the jump backs. So, because if you see his little shadow stays, so you get a little bit of depth going, which is good. I thought that was a nice touch. But like I said, somehow I killed camera shake because usually he's supposed to, when he hits that, the whole camera's supposed to shake. But for some reason, I've managed to kill camera shake. I don't know. We'll see. But I was thinking about the reason I went ahead and did the tutorial for the plants and the attacks is I was thinking about our idea to cut trees down for logs. Is because we can have it to where it cuts the tree down and then bounces out a set of logs that we can save and take back to the house for warming the house. I thought that was a nice little touch. I think I have his attack radius a little bit wide. But like I said, we have our talking. That's kind of cool. I just have to come up with dialogue strings and stuff like that. But you get the basic ideas. Nifty little move, yes. Like Stardew, okay. Alrighty, so we've added those. Let's see, what else do we need in the future here? So I'd like to have, like, I don't know if there's stuff in there, but drinking and eating, I'd like to be able to have in the game. Casting, so that's for fishing. So let me rephrase that. Fishing. We're going to go casting. Reel them in. I think you have to have a little bit of a play with that one. So we're going to come up with some stuff for that. These are other controls. Tech Joe, thank you very much for the follow. That music, I think that oh God, what would I say? Or excuse me, battle music. Did anyone ever play the Zelda Game Boy Color games? Oracle of Ages of Reason. The game massively reminds me of them. Oh, cool. That's a good thing. Nostalgia is a good thing to use when trying to get a game going. Is what were the things you remember about the other games? Okay, music, battle music. Okay. I know of those games, but I never played them. FX. So we need let's see. Sound effects. Plant chopping, of course. We have step sounds. We have walking. Bow strings. Sword whoosh. Okay, let's go over to our characters. Character player 10-year-old. Okay. Walk, run, hit, kick, swig, swing a stick, swig a stick, swing. Yeah, I'll call it brains. I swig a stick. That's gotta hurt. Swing a stick, swim, pick up, toss. We got pick up and toss. No, we will have pick up and toss. Save Granddad motivations. Okay. Granddad, we don't see him throughout the whole thing, but we do need to worry about this guy. Bounce runs the mine. Okay. Story points, we got our basic story, so I'm not gonna mess with that right now. Good motivate, Granddad motivations. Good kid, brace, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to swig the stick with swagger, like Bob Saget. No, Bob Sager, Bob Sager. Or else you'll come back with a dagger. But what if I want to come back with a dagger? Maybe my quest is to find a dagger. Okay. Where are we at here? We are at the far side of a page. Okay. Main character, what is it? Mini games that will be actually put in these areas here. You'll have a dagger after that, but you really want it in your guy. What? Don't. Oh yeah, we read that. I'm gonna try to read it again because I read it very poorly. Don't forget to swig that stick with swagger. So like Bob Sager, or else you'll come back with a dagger. That's a very hard sentence to say, Sparta, but thank you. Okay. Okay, one of the things for night, this is weird, but I like it. Fire. I want when it goes to nighttime around the swamps, I want some fireflies. And he can use them. Okay. So, okay. He can use firefly lamps when he first goes into caves. He can catch fireflies to use them for lamps. Oh, geez, ads are coming up again already. What time is it? Oh, okay, we're all good. Firefly lamps. I was thinking that he could trade fireflies at the school or sell fireflies to the school. So they can use them for experiments, are typically around forest always. Firefly jars sound like a very southern thing. I don't know why. Well, they kind of are. I mean, I know that oh, when I was in West Virginia, they had fireflies. I was amazed by them because I had never seen them before. But I was little. I think I was 12 at that time. I don't remember California ever having fireflies. But I could be wrong. Maybe in Northern California or something like that. Okay, logs. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Because if he goes to the forest and cuts down logs, then he can sell logs to the different shops as well as to the school to heat the buildings. That'd be good. Give me just a second. I will be right back. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. But during the ad break there, I go, okay, I remember where I put it, which is the lid. This is the lid to the cup. So let me take this out. Right there for a second. So the soup cup that I've been using for, let me go back to, no, I'm not going to go back there. The soup cup that I'm using for coffee has a little thing where you can put soup in it and then you can vent it and all that stuff. But it's a nice little touch and really good for, oh, that's a good point, Sparta. You're absolutely right. So we'll go, logs for burning and then logs for building. Yep. Logs for building are, we'll say they're double $ logs. And then logs for burning are just single $ logs. Just for now, we'll because we haven't worked out our monetaries for this whole thing anyway, so that's a good way to represent it for now. You need a better phrasing than premium logs, though. Yeah, we'll get to all that later, but my brain can't think of anything other than words that rhyme with dagger. Seeing as you have rat fur, yes, maybe you can have a boy set up rat traps, catch live traps, and then make a choice. Skin them for fur or use them as bait to catch snakes and owls. That's actually quite nice. You'd have to work out a what to use them for type thing. So if we go, let me pull this over here because I don't know if it's gonna do it this way. So we do a progression, which is means rat equals rat fur. Actually, we'd have to split that. Let's do it this way. Boop, 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 merge. Okay. We got rat meat. And rat fur. Because you can sell the rat fur to the tailor who can use it for, say, lining boots or something. But you can use the rat meat for all kinds of things. So you can use this. In fact, let's do it this way. Let's go just so we have a consistency. But we'll have to build these as we're going. Is how do they work out? So this goes to catch owls. Snakes. And this is for tailor. The tailor. Okay, help if I could actually use my fingers. Tailor for now, and then other buildings and stuff. So, but we can also talk about this for all the fur because we use rabbit. We can use rabbit, squirrel, rats for bait to catch some of the other things like lizards and as well. You know, and then lizard fur, if we not lizard fur, but lizard skin can also be sold to the tailor for making boots and things like that. So that would be kind of cool. Snakes and owls love rats. Squirrels are a delicacy for hawks, rabbits, and attract foxes and even wolves. Yeah, so yeah, we'll have to do a breakdown for all that. But you are right. But you can see where these kind of things, the whole point of this is to get thinking about all those things. Is how does it all fit together? How does it all how's it all going to play out? And I was thinking about this over the weekend as I'm putting things together and learning new things. I'm also going, okay, We do have a lot of things, but do we need all of them? Maybe, maybe not. What I mean by that is this, is if we have a first pass on the game and all we need for the first pass on the game is rabbit fur, rat fur, and squirrels, that's okay. And we can do all the things for that. Or we could do it to where when he's level 1 through 3, he can only get rabbits or furs or whatever. And we talked a little bit about this, I think somewhere else. I forget where, but Matthias Strife, thank you very much for the sub. And I rolled that right off the page when I went to read that. Okay, so yeah, so we can, what the hell did I just do there? Don't know how I did that, but cool for me. And now it's gone. Okay, so oh, I know how. That's funny. What you just witnessed is me putting my arm on my chair arm, and it being too close to the keyboard. And when I put my arm down, pick the arm up, put the arm down. That's funny. I need to keep the arm of the chair away from the keyboard. Okay. Yeah, so we can, and I think, did we, could have swore we did something like that where we were talking about what can be done at what levels. I think it was, we did go through the mines and say there's different ore. Dialogues, we have to put dialogue trees together. Okay. That's weird. Did I put that in a different place? Or did I just delete it all accidentally? Everything we just did, I think I deleted. What? Oh? Oh? No, I think we're fine. Okay. I'm just spacing for some reason. I thought the meds were done. I guess they're not. Okay. So yeah, so we can start thinking about what those trees are, meaning those progression trees. You know, same thing when we get to dialogue is we'll have to go in here and say, okay, let me grab this and change this just to one thing. Copy. We'll flip it to where it's going down. Okay. And to make sure it formatted somewhat right. So we'll build these kind of trees for everything. Boom, ba-dum, boom. Okay. We are all good. Yeah, so we'll have to do the same thing for the use of all the pelts, the meats, all that stuff is what it can be used for and all that. But we can also do it for dialogue, as you see here. So, do you like pies? No. How about a donut? Yes. Okay. And then other things, but yeah. If he says yes, then you can say, here's the pies. Yeah, etc., etc. You guys get this. But back to this. Okay, so squirrel, we can say, I think this could be any animal, because we can I'll just specify it later, so we can do it in a situation where rat meat fur can be fur for anything, doesn't have to be specific to rats. We can take that, move it over here. Then we can say rat meat there. We can then go down here. Damn. Why is it doing that today? My brain is like, do, and then it's all like, ah. Okay. Ba-doop. Snakes. Meat, skin. Yeah, so these are what we can do is we'll break it down a little bit more into something that's a little cleaner by what each of them can give or what we can get from each of them. And then we'll put eyes. Because we don't have to be completely literal, because we can do something like, okay, the eyes can be used as marbles after they dry out. I don't know. It's silly and stupid, I know. It's over here. Snake meat can be for eating. Roasted snake meat. Yeah. But yeah. But these kind of skill trees we would put together anyway. So, and you can use eggs are really good for catching snakes. No use. Um, Product. I need to find a better word for that, but you get the general idea. So let's make it green for now. Here you have a perfect example of how complex do you want the design to be. It could go down this route. Yeah, I'm just doing the basics. So I'm not gonna go, okay, every single step needs to be accounted for. What I'm doing is basically we'll build a pattern of rinse and repeat, if that makes sense to you guys. Because it's just you can go down this rabbit hole forever. We do need to just figure out what works for each level, and then say, okay, we're only creating this particular art here. So take that off. We'll take that merge off actually. Yeah, I'm not going to go through every single one. What I'm just doing is saying, okay, here's things we could think about. So, like in this particular case, we would take the product here is skin and eyes. We'll say for now, and then use is for meat for roasting. Use is bait, or sorry, this would be product catching owls, bait. Used for bait. Catching snakes, catching lizards, etc. Okay. Actually, that's a better way to format it. Oops. Yeah, so eventually we'll make something like this for for everything that we can pick up here. What is it that we can use it for? And what does it bring for us? So like if we go back to what we were originally talking about, let me just do this real quick. Item. We go back to what we were originally talking about, and we do that, and we say logs. Used for sale, also used for burning. And then make this actually trees. Sale, burning. Product of it is logs, fishing poles, because you can take the branches and make fishing poles out of it. You know, yeah, so we can do that kind of thing for all of this. Fireflies. But that'll at least give us an outline. So, but it also tells us, okay, what kind of code do we actually have to write? So basically, it's not that much, really. All we have to do is we need a piece of code that basically says that is a bag that we can put stuff in. Then we got to be able to take it out, show it to someone, basically ask them if they want to buy it or give it to them because they've sent us to go get it, and then a monetary system that we get something back. So yeah, that's making more sense. Array. Okay, you could go down the route where you can have a plethora of baits, each attracting their own, or settle for an array of prey, and randomize yields from it. Yeah, we're not even to that part yet. Right now, I'm just doing the basic stuff. Since we know we can catch snakes, we know we can get trees, we know we can get rats. All the rest of the stuff may be further down the line items. So I'm not saying, okay, we're gonna solve all this right this minute. It does not work that way, sadly. But could be interesting. But if we group them, say, okay, fur, rat fur, snakes, trees, just say logs 1 and 2. Those are our base items. Okay. Let's see, we have lizard skins up there. So that back up there. Okay. And then these things can be like next level items. So we could say that these are level 1, down 1 here, and say, okay. There, that makes sense. So we go there, make this a lighter yellow. Okay. Yeah, I'll just do this one. Should have just did this one the first. Okay, same thing. And then these can be like level 3 to 4, or items 3 to 4, as just a starting point. And I think that there should be certain things that certain things that when we're at the lower levels we learn, but then there's a stop to them, so we can get to a so we don't have to say, okay, we have to create 15 levels of the same thing. We can say, no, we're just going to learn to a certain point, and then anytime we have to come back to that, we can just do it at that point. because it's okay to get rid of things that they don't need to do anymore. Things that they did in the past that work out. Just something that will feed me a mission, because when I try to read the quest, but I wouldn't be able to find where it tells me to go. Well, one of the things that was early in WoW, in the plugins that people were making for it, that I really liked was it didn't tell you what to do, but it would put an arrow as to what direction you should be going on the mini map, and that was always helpful. But didn't actually tell you what you had to do. Another thing we do is we can come up with an idea that when we're doing the dialogue stuff, is that there's a setting for a short version, but also just having a setting for "Have you done it yet?" type thing. Like, "Have you done X yet?" To where until we can lock it out to where until you do specific things that you're asked to do, then it won't let you get more information from that particular character. Another thing that would be kind of cool. Yeah, let me think about this. I have a thought brewing in my head. And I don't know if it can be done in this setup, but it might be able to. And let me go back here to our character. Oops. As part of the items that he already has. Sorry, I'm trying to wait for the commercial to end, but I have a thought. If we give him That's right, I'm just dragging it out. Drag it out to the last possible second. Oh my god. Okay. So one of the things that was brought up, yes, you're absolutely right, is getting lost when you're working on quests and stuff like that is a huge one for me. In fact, there's a lot of times where I will not even read the dialogue. I will just walk around till I get everything done, which is not a good way to play a game. However, but if we actually built in as part of the things he has on him a quest log that when he gets lost, he can open it and it will tell him the quests that he needs to do, as well as shows him the quests that are already done. That kind of thing could be actually quite helpful for the people that do, like, you're halfway through a quest, you go and you have to go do something for the weekend, you come back on Monday and you don't remember what the quest is, and you're too far away to go back to the original guy that gave it to you. It's like, oh, damn it. Then you just forget what it is and you go wander around. But if he has a book or a digital pad or something that he can pull up and say, okay, what quest was I on? Where was I? That kind of thing could be kind of cool. Oh, classic game that's always been close to my heart. Well, thank you very much. Oh, wow, classic. I like it. A lot of people complain because of the grind, but I kind of like the grind in WoW Classic. So if he has a quest log, that could be a good thing. because he may be like, oh, I'm a forgetful kid. I always write things down because I always forget and Grandpa gets mad at me. You know, it puts me in the woodshed. No, there's no woodshed. Don't worry. Village. Okay. That need down. Got that. We'll formalize this a little bit more later. Cleaning it up like this is good. Main character, what he has. Okay. Quest log. Games like Green Hell tend to do this in very impressive ways. So rather than having a quest log as a separate menu, could tie it into game lore and give a little supernatural Easter egg. Yeah, it could be one of the things that his ancestors give him. By him by him stumbling upon his granddad's old journal, where he can write down. Like that idea. That has a good feel to it. TD. Come on. So what we can do is the ancestors can tell him that he needs to find the journal first. That could be the very first quest that the ancestors give him. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Damn. I'll put tomb in there right now because he can get that at the tomb. It would be it could be their way of saying take us with you. So as he's working on it, whatever ancestor he's working for or working to revive is giving him clues along the way. And he can type stuff in it. Well, I think that what we're going to do is lead him to the the uh, the family crypt or the tomb, and that'll be his central point for getting this kind of information. I think the journal and all that stuff works out really, really well because they could be giving him advice before he puts their tomb statues back together. He only gets the upgrade or the superpower or the leveling up once he repairs those statues. Yeah, but all of them could be giving him advice, and he can be getting it from, or the fountain could be giving him the base advice, and then the ancestors would give him the bigger advice. Do this. No. Okay, I'm going to use the pun. Okay, equals. So the fountain equals fount of knowledge. Bahaha. I get it. Remember. and it can be part of the mini game, is whenever he gets stuck, he can always come back to the fountain. He can also use a journal, so we give him more than one way to get back on track if he gets lost. Yeah, we can also do the appearance of apparitions of the fountain. Is when he gets in a tight spot, he can call on the fountain, and the fountain will give him a clue. That could be good. This over to this side. But a lot of it is just sitting around doing this kind of thing, where you're just okay. What's next? What am I thinking of? Try getting. No, I have not looked at Good yet. I was looking at Game Maker first. Um, there's not enough time in the day for me to literally be going chasing every single game engine. But we will get there. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Godot. Here, let me look in here. Simply invent a time machine. Yeah, I'll get right on that. My problem is if I were to simply invent a time machine, I would have already done it, and I would have already come back and told myself not to do it. So technically, did I already? Maybe I have. Just one we're making up. That's the game we're working on. Codename Toby. That's what I've named it. I came up with a bunch of really, really fancy names, but then it's hard for me to say them while I'm working on it. So I just right now, for lack of a better thing to call it, is I'm calling it Toby. For clues, you could always add mini quests. I already got that in there. Mini games are already in there. Those can also be quests. The player could have a gather materials and bring them to the fountain. Yeah, we can do that. Because even though the ancestors are dead, they may need things. Then perform rituals, which will give him clues towards his objective. Yep. But that makes the game a lot grindier for players that aren't very good at following the quest. Well, that's just it. Is for the people that aren't very good, that are good at following quest lines and stuff like that. Can we have it as a on-off switch? Is meaning this is you can play the game in an abridged edition, which is for people like that, or you can play the game in a long form edition that you can go back and do the grinding and all that other things. That way, we're covering two birds with one stone. But we'll get to that. In fact, you know what? We'll get to that when we start doing the final, not the final, but one of the other phases of going through the things that we're coming up with. Is I want to make sure that the things you can do in the game tie into Maslow's basic human drives. That way we can get a stronger pull into the game, and we also have more elaborate options when it comes to advertising the game and stuff like that. Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it a hardcore mode. I would say make it an abridged version and a much longer version. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of that. I think I'll use your terminology though. We'll go not no, I don't like hardcore. Let's go. Okay. No, this wouldn't even be on this page. This would be back. Okay, name, controls, music. Okay, under. We will call it something else. Let us call it. Else we'll call it modes. So now we have game modes. Game modes. Simple. And challenging. We have simple and challenging. 2 modes. Yeah, I think that'll do it. For this kind of game, I don't think we need to go to that many levels. I think we could just get by with 2. Because I know that Diablo did a really good job with the easy, medium, hard, and death to everybody that ever touches the game. But yeah, it could be under story modes, is what this basically goes here. I mean, story points. But we'll keep it here. Is I don't know. Keep typing it. Keep disappearing. Yeah. It's just game modes. Put your guys' ideas down here too, though, just so we have them. Adventure, story. We have easy, medium. Well, wouldn't he have to be psychic to play medium? Hard. Deathly? Is that what you wrote? Yeah, it is. Okay. Deathly. Yeah, let's do this so that they're separated a little bit. So, just so they're grouped. No, you still want to have some difficulty. I mean, I'm like I said, when we play the Super Nintendo games and stuff like that, I like the fact that the games were difficult. You know, it's frustrating as hell right now, without a doubt, but I do like the fact that the games are difficult. Hmm. Is this the part of game dev where motion blur gets embedded? No. Why does it blur? Why does? Okay. All right. I clicked on a page and it moved. Why does motion blur exist? Chat. In all honesty, it's because the way our eyes work, and because of the frame rate of our eyes, for lack of a better way to put it. I know that eyes don't have frame rate, but because of the way our eyes work, and the way that the screens themselves work, is if motion blur wasn't in there, your eye you'd get a headache pretty fast in regards to things jumping, and it's not a fun thing. Yeah, psychic for mediums, cute. Thank you very much. I thought of that when I was writing the word medium. I mean, I'm not saying let's go get Patricia Arquette and put her in the game, but hey. Difficulty adds challenge. Yes. Technically, your eyes are at 120 frames per second. I did not know that. All I know is that mine do not like first-person shooters. That much I know. Yes, the Arquettes have been around for a very, very, very long time. Mine hate VR and AR. Yeah, I've had some success with VR. However, first person shooters and stuff like that on a regular monitor, my eyes just don't like. That's why I liked Half-Life 2 years ago, because it was the first one that didn't mess with my eyes and give me headaches and make me dizzy and want to fall off the chair. So VR makes me want to vomit. Uh, I remember when I first saw 120 hertz is really good for like sports, but can be very obnoxious when it comes to TV shows and stuff like that. Okay, so according to AI, the human eye sees between 30 and 60 frames per second. Some experts will tell you that the human eye can see between, yeah, okay, that's what I just said, 30 and 60 frames per second. Yeah, most humans' capacity rate for frames per second is 30 to 60. According to all of the things in the internets, whether they are true or not, I do not know. But it is claiming 30 to 60, not 120 or 140. Because I used to have a TV, I think that was 140 hertz. And like I said, it was really good with like sports and stuff like that, or 120 hertz, I think. Really good with sports and stuff like that, but not really good with like movies because it just screw your eyes up. Ads in 2 minutes. Okay. That's not a bad frame rate. Hmm. I think with my eyes, it depends on the day. Yeah, they say that it depends on what was the thing it said? It depending on individuals may vary. Basically, is what it says. So your individual use may vary. I think the hertz of eyes. Yeah, possibly. I think you can see the higher frame rates. However, your brain um, uh, uh, transcodes them into the frame rate that it can see. That makes more sense because your brain is quite a fascinating thing, and it does a lot of things just on its own. Yeah, we're gonna get to the part with most monitors and stuff like that where it's just not. They're gonna go buy this bigger, better thing. I go, yeah, but my eyes can't see the difference. So thank you very much. Yes, frame rates are how fast a picture changes per second. It says, can a human see 1,000 frames per second? No, the human eye cannot see 1,000 frames per second. Most experts agree that the typical human eye can only perceive 30 to 60 frames per second, meaning it cannot process visual information specifically faster than that. Significantly faster than that. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. The brain is a limiting factor, not the eye itself. It can only process visual information at a certain rate, which is 30 to 60 frames per second for most people. Even if a display could produce 1,000 frames a second, the eye's natural movement would still cause some level of motion blur, making it difficult to distinguish individual frames. So, yeah, there you go. Individual variations. Some people may have slightly better visual acuity and could potentially perceive a slightly higher frame rate, but the difference is usually minimal. I'm assuming you mean than us, but I don't know. I mean, I know that there are certain things that for pilots, for fighter pilots, not just commercial pilots, but fighter pilots, there's certain jobs where your eyes are tested to the nth degree to make sure that you won't fail there. So who knows? Maybe Formula One guys just have really good eyes. Oh, it makes sense though. I mean, I think that Formula One, they'd probably have the same kind of standards or acuity as fighter pilots and stuff like that. Makes sense to me if you're moving that fast. Are you talking about conscious process? Because you can get an emotional response before you know you saw something. Possibly. No, right now we're just talking about what someone is. If you look further back, it's someone had brought up. Oh, the eye, the eyes work at 120 frames a second, and we're like, well, no, your brain adjusts your visual cortex to whatever it is you're seeing into and converts it into information that it can understand. So there's a lot of motion blur going on there by your brain for the stuff that it can't interpret. That's also why magicians can get away with a lot of stuff because they know how to cue those things and do things in those pockets between sight. And I know that I'm explaining that extremely wrong, but there is a thing I was watching in regards to how magicians do certain things a certain way because they know that your visual cortex will block it out and you won't see it happen, which I find very fascinating. But I haven't looked heavily into it, but maybe someone else knows something about that. The brain is a processor every day. Disclaimer: we are not doctors. Very good. This is not a medical advice. No, it is not. We're just a bunch of dummies talking on the internet. Every day, that's us. Thank you, Sparta. You are absolutely right. You know, we're simple people, people of the ground, morons. I'm making a clicker game for a friend because of a joke. That's always the best way to make a game. It's going to be so stupid, and I love it. Sometimes those are the ones that are the best. Because I have. You can always change your processor. What is this? Yeah, I missed something. Oh, 13 gen. Has it started having issues yet? I know that you guys were saying that Pirate Software was having trouble with his processor and had to rebuild his computer. Okay. We have some time left. So we covered where I am on the tutorials. Maybe we might even be able to start building. I might be able to start building our town anew in the testing area while I'm doing the tutorials, and then just keep building on top of that. But I might make a. Here's my problem: is I want to have a complete finished product of all the tutorials to use as a base in the future to say, okay, let's try this kind of game, and then pull that in, build that kind of game out, kind of look at it, and then have that as a separate save. So that's why I'm trying to get through all the tutorials first before building our town and our world inside the tutorials. Which is why we're doing this right now, because I think it hopefully it'll only take me less than a week to get through the rest of the tutorials, because some of them are quite slow or quite short, and I'm actually doing I'm since I've already watched through all of them once. I can actually watch them or do them in double speed. I just need to stop to type, and that's usually where most of the time goes. But I'm burning through them quite quickly. I made a joke because as the head of a processor, the 13 and 14 gen had problems, so I made a joke. Okay. Processor is consistently overheating and needs a lot of reboots. What if you got a water cooler for it? That's what I was having a little bit of trouble with one of my other computers, and put a water cooler system on it instead of the fan system, and it seemed to fix it. Yeah, try water. Very good, Sir Nicholas. I think you and I had the same idea. Yeah, the water cooling systems, I was against them at first, and then had to try them for a problem that I was having with one of my machines, and it solved it. So I was pretty happy about that. Check something real quick here. I don't understand. Okay. So basically, that will never be delivered. It's basically what it's telling me. A lot of stuff ordered won't be delivered now, but that's okay. We can work around it. My friend and mine made a switch to after a recommendation and is pretty happy with it. Cool. Well, when I got a toothache, I drank whiskey, vodka, or headaches. White wine for high blood pressure, red wine for low blood pressure, rum for tummy aches, but I've never been so sick to consider drinking water. And it was a joke about the human brain being a processor. That's why I ended the sentence with, and coffee's not helping. Okay. Sorry, I misread something. But the water I meant for your CPU on your computer, not for your brain. Just hopping in. What's the spreadsheet? Oh, it's in this particular case we are on some of our game stuff. Let me pull it back over here because we got on a tangent. So yeah, if we come up with if we want different modes for the game itself, that actually can solve some of the things that we're talking about in regards to how much the how much help the player needs and where he will get them. But we can also look into what we were talking about before in regards to what those what. Let me see where we put it again. Game flow, no. The crypt, nope. I think it's village, under the village, yeah. So, in the forest. Yeah, so it can work with this kind of thing where we're saying, okay, for different levels, you can have stuff. And then as you're given quests, you can either have an easy mode and or a hard mode. And in those modes, you can have a quest book that you can add things to, which they used to have. I forget which game it was, but there was a game back in the 90s that was a dungeon crawler type game, for lack of a better way to put it. But it had a quest log that you could type stuff in and make notes in. I actually like that. Because this will probably, well, no, will be on a PC, because the trick is being able to type it into it. Is God, what game was that? It was something that I really really liked, because I'm one of those people that I'll get the quest, I'll go and run around and do a bunch of things, and then forget what the quest was that I was supposed to be on. And then if it wasn't a time quest, then I would always like just wander around and gather some more quests and do them all at once type thing. But having a log to where I can pull things up, like even with the games we have, is I have to stop and write down codes as to where we are in the game, and then add them to our text stuff. And so it'd be good to be able to keep that in game. That would be good. But yeah, I've looked at water cooling, but it's or included pay extra for a medically sealed box. It won't let dust in. Yeah. Oh, good luck. I hope it works out. I build all my own machines, so I'm water worked out for that one. You're making one. Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan is the ox with you, babe? Cool. I've only popped in a few times, so all I've seen you do so far is play some old games. That's early in the show. We do play through the games that I worked on in the first half of the show, first hour and a half of the show, and then we go and do some game dev stuff later. And I use the term game dev stuff very liberally, because we do get it wasn't something that I had planned to do when I first started the stream. It's something that's come up, and I'm enjoying it. I just wish that in my particular brain, my brain is going to move faster. So we will hopefully be in a situation that is better once I get through the tutorials of how to use GameMaker. And then I'm not going to prevent this from going forward. We're actually going to use GameMaker to make this go forward. But I will be looking at Godot as well, just to look at it and see what it's at, and then maybe do a couple of tutorials, but not to change the engine yet, unless I think it's necessary later on. But I will be looking at both, because I don't know those two, so I don't know either one of them. I'm learning. I will technically say I know more now about Game Maker Studio than I know about Godot, because I know nothing about Godot. So, but I'm only on the first step of the staircase of learning Game Maker Studio. Devil King, welcome back. Playing Horizon Forbidden West right now, and I have this problem forgetting what the quest was about to. Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Is for this game, would we have a quest log, or would we have a central location where they could just return and talk to things? Or would we have a mode that doesn't have those kind of help tools in it, and is much harder for the player? So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we were originally talking about different items that you can get and what you can do with them. So like rat fur and snake skins, and these are things that you can get and use for trading. And the squirrel fur and rabbit fur, and then someone had brought up like rat meat could be used for baits for catching owls and snakes and lizards and stuff like that. And then we got out that way and started looking at the other things, and then what we could use those things for. Owls you could keep and use for eggs. You know, but we will also have chickens because chickens just run wild anyway. So, well, see, that's just it. Is I'm my I'm talking about invisible matter. He asked, "Do you have to walk back to the fountain or teleport back like you do in Diablo?" That's a question. I personally would rather have the quest book that when you're at the fountain, both it and you can write in the quest book, and then you can open that book anytime you're out in the wild to see exactly what they said. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards. But people have brought up both. Is you have some are like in a more difficult one, you'd have to walk a difficult setting. You'd have to walk back to the fountain, re-listen to what it has to say, and then go out again and try to get things done. Um, we hadn't talked about teleporters, as to whether you could have a homestone, Hearthstone, or not. But that could be part of the easy mode, or you could just have the teleporter going up. No teleport, just walk. Yeah, that's just it. Is or depending on what world we're in, how organic is the travel? Is it just you walk everywhere, run everywhere, or is it something else? But I'm personally leaning towards the idea of having a book that when you're at the fountain and you get a quest from the fountain, it opens your book, it in glowy letters writes in what it is it wants you to do. You close it, and then as you're going along, you can go in and make notes for that particular quest. I think that I like that idea. It depends on the size of the map. Yeah, without a doubt. Because what we've learned is when I built our first mock-up, is my map was massive. So I'm getting a reflection of the sun. Oh, see that? Look at that. I'm getting a reflection of the sun off my mic stand, my mic arm, that is lighting up my face and blinding me in my right eye. A living journal would be cool. Yeah, a living journal is a good way to put it. I actually like that terminology. Because it's kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, it's kind of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type thing, and that could be a lot of fun to play with. Vitamin D time. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it came a little late today, but yeah. Yeah. The living journal. In fact, we could make it a character even. Yeah. That could be cool. We'll put here in the character aisle. We'll just put it here for now as a something to think about. Doop doop doop. Oops, don't need that one. We do need that one, but we need it done a different way. Z. We just need to open this all up and make it all merge together. Stand and deliver your money or your life. Okay, characters done. Living journal. Yep. Don't panic. Journal has no motivations. Its motivation is to help. Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, go back over here. His motivation is to help keep you on track. Mm. Obsidian Notes app. Cute. We can call it our DP journal. And then not have to worry about copyright for Don't Panic. It's your DP Living Journal. Notepad plus plus for the win. I do use Notepad a lot, but not on this. This is Excel. I like it because my code when I do write code, my code looks normal in Notepad, whereas or in Notepad plus plus where it doesn't in Notepad. Vitamin D time. What time is it? Oh wow, we're almost done with our game dev stuff. I really need things to move along faster. What I mean is, nope, I do. Oh, okay. Yeah, we used to use, God, what was it? Pat Wyatt years ago. When we were working on Lost Vikings for the Sega, he gave me a program to use called Brief to use with the scripting system. I really liked Brief, and then it just disappeared. I don't know whatever happened to it, but it was good. It was a good text editor for coding and stuff like that, because that's what they used. But it is no mo not that I'm aware of. Lies and slander. I've never actually used Obsidian. Okay. Paul Bunyan and his babe ox. His ox babe. It's funny because I used to oh, this is so terrible. I was such a horrible human being when I was a kid, when I was younger. But Ben Brode, I used to call Paul Bunyan because he always wears plaid shirts. He's like 9,000 feet tall. He's a little over 6 feet tall, but and laughs so loud that people in space can hear him when he laughs. And anybody that knows him knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, but he's a really good guy too. But he's made some really good games. He now I think owns Second Breakfast. I think is the company that he started. That's good. But be careful if you ever go out to lunch with him because he'll take you to places that has really weird food. But there's no sound in space that loud. Yes, there is. Like I said, if you knew Ben and you heard him laugh, I mean, I have actually been in BlizzCon with everybody there. He's been on the farthest side of the hall and I could hear him laugh. But the rules of the internet demand I change it a little bit. So I spelled it like a foot bunion, which is cute. Still got a point across. Good job. I know that if I ever had a bunion on my foot, I'd probably name it Paul. Hypersonic laugh. No, loud booming laugh. Okay. Oh, wow. We're pretty close to. Probably should just move on to that after. Okay, so. Oh, let's wait for the ads to be done. Yeah. Last thing I heard before our ad started, and I think that's just beautiful. Yes. You can't hear me, but yes. Uh, Paul Bunyan here says, I know that if I ever got a bunion on my foot, I'd probably call it Paul. Was the last thing I heard before the ad started. And I think that was beautiful. So good for him. Yes. You guys didn't keep me distracted. We got some things done. We talked about our items and stuff. We are going to start moving ahead when I get the tutorials done for the other thing. We are going to start moving ahead very, very fast. And so that's something to keep in mind. Paul, you made me laugh with your the last thing I heard was it was very funny. But as I was saying, is you're not distracting me. We've got quite a bit of things done. We talked about trading items. We talked about what some of those items can be used for other than just what they are. You know, we talked about the journal thing, which is part of it. I mean, this is what game dev is about, is sitting around and saying, okay, here's the things we're going to talk about. Start talking about them. And yes, they always lead to something else. And you're always going to be distracted a little bit, but then you go and you regroup and you bring back to the narrowness again. But we got some really good ideas out of that. I mean, we have some ideas for the a new character, which is our DP Living Journal, you know, and to help you keep on track. We talked about having a version that doesn't have that, so that the game is much harder for the player that wants a much harder game. You know, those are some huge changes and things that we wouldn't have thought of if we didn't go into those tangents. You know, so I'm okay with that. You're not distracting me. We will still get to the point where we're at, where we need to be. How many tutorials do you think you have to go? I already know. I'm doing the set of tutorials that I'm doing right now are 51 episodes. I'm at 17, which I did 17 of them over the weekend. And now that I know a little bit more about the style and code that the person teaching is using, it will go quite a bit faster. So we'll be able to get through it. Thank you, Sparta. So I'm just doing one more set of tutorials, and then whatever we have, we have. You know, because I'm hoping that, and I'm already starting to recognize how code structure works in GameMaker. So that's once I get that down, then I'll be able to do a lot more kinds of things. You know, but like I said, we have our mockups, we have our spreadsheet that has everything in it. Let me save it to make sure. There you go. And then sketching ideas will come later because we haven't picked a world this will be in yet. So yeah, I'm glad that brought you joy. You're very welcome, Paul. I mean, I've named my car, which almost got me in trouble this weekend, by the way. My car, when I bought my car last year, I gave it a name. My car's name is Sarah, you know, and it's important that Sarah be her name because it's just a good name for my car. And yesterday we were at the Super Bowl thing, and a friend had gone out and had forgotten to, it had started raining, so he had to go out and roll up all of his windows. And he's a new friend, so I haven't known him that long. And he came back, and I'm like, well, at least Sarah didn't get you. Sarah complains at me all the time that if her windows are open or anything like that. And he goes, I thought you were a nice guy. That was just a mean thing to say. What I didn't know was his ex-wife's name was Sarah. And he thought I was talking about her. And then people that knew me at the game go, no, he's talking about his car. His car's name is Sarah. So that was very, very funny. So when I talked about my car complaining, because I have a newer car that complains about everything, You know, if the windows were down, it would have sent me a text and said, "My windows are down. Get out here and save me now." Yeah. So, I mean, this thing even like it's, I had to turn one of its warnings off because it was just driving me nuts. And it says it basically is your eyes are not looking forward. And it would do this like when I'm driving like 1,000 times because the reflection on my lenses, it couldn't see my eyes open. So, and it's a safety thing to keep you from falling asleep, but um, yeah, so it's silly. But her name is Sarah, and I almost got in trouble because her name was Sarah. Yes, mine is like I love my car to death. You know, in fact I showed you guys. I think I showed you guys this, but I was trying to set a record, a personal record of how many miles I could get on a single tank of gas. Yeah, we talked about this because I had gone 6 months without putting gas in it, but I had done 1,500 miles. So I'm like, oh, okay. I was asking about whether um, uh, gas separates in the tank and how long does it take and stuff like that, which is about 6 months. So I had to go and burn all the gas out of it and do it. Yeah, I have a plug-in hybrid that so my record right now is 1,500 miles, 1,506 miles on a single tank of gas, which took about 6.5 months. So that was fun. And it was fun to just go and to do it and to see if it could be done. My next goal, and it won't be on this tank, it'll probably be on the next one, is my next goal is 2,000 miles. Can I do 2,000 miles without without refilling the tank? Yeah, it's pretty good mileage. When it comes to level design, I look more into what you want to unlock abilities to be and tie them towards the levels that you'd be achieved. For example, I design the Lion's Roar around forest and have the puzzles within it tied to courage. That's cute. Maybe have a few routes to the Rocky Mountain sequel era. Maybe let the player follow the road down the train tracks. Maybe have swamp behind the hill of the graveyard, but each hidden area would lead to a different ability. Yeah. Well, they should, but I'm gonna stick to I want the new abilities given to him by his ancestors. I want to really stick to that. But your idea about building puzzles and areas around each ability actually is really cool because we can use that as a how he learns to use them before he uses them in battle. Let me go to yeah, we can put it here. Let's go. Let me do this. So we can call it training areas. And then, oops, I didn't know it was going to kill our merge. Okay. Because if we build training areas for him to go and learn these things in, that could be actually quite good. But we can talk about having each of those a one through 3. Oops, sorry. Oops. 1 through 3. Okay, 4 through 6. And then 7. Oops. 7 through 10. So we do it like that. So whereas he's leveling up, there would be different training areas for different things, and then there'll be advanced versions of them. That could be interesting. Yeah. Return the slab. Use of statue. Yeah, because you still need to build the statues in order to get the ancestors to give you information, because they're not fully powered unless they're put together. Okay, let's do this. We need to close this out, put this back on so I know that we cut. We're going to move on.